Hey, what's up, YouTube? I want to react today to an interview with Data Republican. She sat down with Brian Enton of News Nation in an undisclosed location. Why? Because she's a data scientist that's going through the data with Elon Musk. Elon Musk found her on Twitter, picked her up and brought her in. She's like a data genius, data scientist. She's got patents and she uses AI to go through the data that she finds that they're finding in the USA. And she's finding some pretty incredible things. So let's get into this.
We're on our way right now to meet this data scientist. She goes by Data Republican. She's very, very concerned about her safety and security, so we're going to meet her at an undisclosed location. Her posts have been amplified by Elon Musk on X. She has a relationship with Elon Musk in Doge, and she is deaf, so we're going to use an interpreter for the interview. How did you get the attention of Elon Musk?
Okay. Honestly, I don't know. You'll have to ask him, but I'm grateful. I have no idea how he found me. But one day,
And you know what? I'm grateful too, actually.
what everybody should. I just tweeted what I found, and then he tweeted everyone should follow the Data Republican. My jaw dropped to the floor. And I thought, what? Is this real life? But I guess tech people find tech people. So since then, it's been just a whirlwind, moving fast since.
Has he been using any of the information you've discovered specifically with Doge?
Wait, I want to be clear. I don't communicate directly with Elon. He found me and supports my work. But I have communicated with some people that are involved with Doge just on the side. And I don't want to say much more about that, but I have a working relationship.
Have you thought about working directly for Doge?
Yeah, I've thought about it. When I went to DC, the Doge people recruited me DC. To search it, but the AI is what puts the connections together. And it helps me figure out the relationship. The other use of AI was back in December. And we used AI to read 1,000 pages omnibus, the omnibus bill. And so we used the AI to go through the omnibus bill and read those thousands of pages to help us understand, because thousands of pages of reading, one human, 10 humans.
I know your focus was USAID. What's next? Is there a certain part of the government now that you are really focusing in on?
Yeah, two things. So my project right now is to work on analyzing connections and relationships between people in the government, because if you research me long enough, you start to notice that they're all working together. They're all married. They're all in-laws. They know each other. They all sit on the same board for many years. And that's my project. To map those relationships and put it on my website.
Are you ever scared?
Speaking of her website, let's check this out real quick. I won't take too long. We'll get back to it, but I do want to bring this to your attention here. This is the Data Republican's website. And what I have right here, I got pulled up. Well, I just did a general search. William Crystal. I don't know if you've heard of William Crystal, but he's he's a swamp creature. Let's put it that way. Data Republican. She's also got federal grant search capabilities in here, charity funding. I haven't gotten into this too much, but please go check it out at datarepublican.com. All right, let's get back into this.
Because exposing things like that, the ways people are making big money secretly within our government, seems like it could put you at risk.
Oh, yes, we had to change the way we live entirely, quickly. But, you know, sometimes God calls you for a mission, and you must answer that call.
Republicans are in power right now, and, President Trump created Doge. But do you think you're going to find a lot of corruption, not only with Democrats, but also with Republicans?
Oh, I already did. You see, the structure of the NGOs, the worst government-associated one, was invented during the communist regime during Reagan. And we did this in order to fight communism around the world, fight the spread of communism. And what they did was they ended up setting up a soft power structure to influence the world to stop the spread of communism in the 80s. Well, the communism that we were fighting. So they created a situation structure where the Republicans and the Democrats work together. And then they decided to create the NED. And it splits. So the NED is split into the National Democrats and then the International Republican Institute. Democrats, Republicans are both under the NED. And the NED was designed to influence the world to stop the spread of communism. So they thought it would be fair. We'll get some money to the Republicans, some money to the Democrats, so that when they influence the world, they're getting both perspectives. But so when the communism in Europe you're fighting fell, the NGOs did not disband. Somehow they got bigger. They got more money. They got more power. And now they've truly become, they label themselves the protectors of democracy. And now they believe that any challenge to them is challenging, quote unquote, democracy. But really, it's the democracy they set up in this soft power structure underneath our all.
And it's Democrats and Republicans?
I cannot tell you enough how much both are involved. It is everywhere. Now we even have members of...
You hear that? You hear that? All of them. The Uniparty, Democrats and Republicans.
Congress. So we have sitting members of Congress that actually sit on the NGOs right now. They vote in Congress for money for themselves, and they sit on the same NGOs that they're voting to get money. It is a huge conflict of interest, and it's buried very deep.
Is it all about the money?
I think listen, I think they believe they're doing a good mission. I believe that they've told themselves that I think they truly believe that without their influence that the Western world will fall. And it means that their power is top priority. And that also means that obviously their finances are the top priority. So yes, to answer your question, it is all about the money. But they tell themselves a good story, all villains do.
Is there anything specific and new that you're finding recently that you can tell us about? Any certain groups or people?
Yeah, actually. So, recently, J.D. Vance, he did a speech in Europe, and he told the leaders, if you have a democracy, it means that you cannot censor people, period. Ooh, and that made a certain group of people very upset. But when I researched all the people who were very loud about how upset they were, they all had connections to these NGOs that are financed by government money. One very interesting person, Norm Isaac. One very interesting person, Norm Isaac, wrote a lot about how to start, kick off, and announce a color revolution.
And a color revolution is really the idea of an artificial revolution that's orchestrated by the government in some way. And there are multiple books out there by authors who have outlined what a color revolution, like the recipe and the process of a color revolution.
Interesting that he has an NGO called So Norm Eisen, he runs an NGO called State United Democracies Center. State United Democracy Center. It's actually full of big names like Janet Napolitano, Tom Ridge, Michael Steele. You know, many famous names are involved in this specific NGO. Now, that NGO accepts $17 million in private donation. So I was researching. What do they do? Like, with $17 million, I started researching. But the only thing I could find, and I wouldn't dig, but the only thing that I found, they made a knockoff Muppet show. You think I'm kidding? They actually made puppets, Muppets, but like knockoff puppets. And all the videos that they made.
Muppet show. Let's check out this Muppet show.
How does Pennsylvania make sure elections are safe, secure, and accurate? Come on in, I'll show you. After all voter rolls are checked and all equipment is tested and secured, registered voters can begin casting their ballots. In Pennsylvania, there is a paper record of every single vote. Every cast ballot is secured, tracked, and put under strict chain of custody rules. We actually secure and preserve the ballots for almost 2 years, according to federal law. Trusted local election officials check that absentee and mail-in ballots are signed and verified to be from a registered voter and arrived by Election Day before they are counted. All of our ballot counting machines meet rigorous federal security standards, and we test them regularly in open view of bipartisan observers. This process helps remove human error and bias. In Pennsylvania, bipartisan poll watchers from both parties oversee the ballot counting process and can raise concerns with election officials. Ballots are counted by workers in the same...
You know, what upsets me about this is that in the election of 2020, we all know that in a lot of those poll stations, Republicans were kicked out. So, you know, I consider this propaganda a little bit, really.
Community where the vote was cast, and since precincts report their tallies at different times, it can look like the lead swings from one candidate to another as results come.
All right, you get it. I'm not going to play this whole thing. Let's get back to the interview.
Puppets had less than 200 views. So I'm wondering, all those big names, all those famous people at the NGO, and the only thing they did was $17 million was make a terrible Muppet show. They got money and they did something with that. It was just awful. Jim Henson would roll in his grave.
I saw the video on your ex. Of the Muppets.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And it was weird because all the videos had less than 200 views. They didn't even try to promote them with ads or anything. So where did the $17 million go?
Big picture, with all the databases you're looking at and taxpayer money, how much do you think is being wasted or stolen?
Whew. What's it? If I had to guess, I would say it's over 100 billion. But what's more important is what they're doing with that money. They're using that money. They use that money to shape the world of government. They use that money to disrupt countries, to influence the world. And what they do with that money is just wrong, especially when they take it for themselves. Because the influence that they have from that money is from their own desires, not from a perspective of what the people are.
For regular people out there, you know, busy with kids and jobs, but are interested in finding some of this waste, where do they start? How do they even begin?
Okay, I'd like you to go to my website, thedatarepublican.com, and you can research yourself other options to become involved in the primaries. You know, the primary elections have low participation. So, okay. Like, two things that people can do. First, they go to my website, thedatarepublican.com, and start researching for themselves. There's many options that you can search. But the best action that you could do is the second. Vote in the primary elections. Please vote. No. Polling attendance is so low. In the end, we need to kick out all the dirty politicians from both parties. And if people showed up for the primary elections, it would actually be easy to do.
Yeah, I agree with her 100%. Power to the people, right? Let's vote in the primaries. Either way, Republican, Democrat, let's clean up the swamp, right? That's the end of my video review for now. If you want, you can go check her out on X, or as I said before, at datarepublican.com. And we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like, click, and subscribe.